Recall, of course, that the state witnessed several lootings, vandalization and arson in March after Governor Yusuf was declared the winner of the elections. A couple of days even before the tribunal gave its verdict, there were videos of persons associated with the government threatening the tribunal judges. But let's bring in Bashir Badr, is a legal practitioner, to join us, of course, and he's been monitoring the events happening in Kano State. Good morning, and thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Great to have you. Interesting turn of events in Kano State. Abbah Yusuf, of course, came in with a bang. He was criticized for certain demolitions in the state. Of course, there's also the, parts where the NNPP, of course, was back in victory in Kano State. What are your thoughts on this ruling and, what this means?
Very well. That's the court judgment, and it has to be respected by all parties. That is very important. And I have to also praise the sacked governor by the Tribunal for activating this state of emergency situation, declaring curfew, 24 hours curfew. This is very, very important because even despite the fact that the judgment was
all right.
Violence here and there, and which is necessary immediately to quickly activate security architecture of the state to ensure that lives and properties of citizens are secured. Having said that, the jubilation you saw around became necessary because of the few, I would call it, wrong steps taken by this governor at inauguration. Just a few days before the constitution of the assembly, the governor took to the streets to begin to demolish people's properties, forgetting that these individuals, even if they are not your party members, are equally stakeholders in the economy of the state. These are individuals who come to trade, giving Kano the name it has, the business hub of West Africa. For crying out loud, these steps would definitely, even those affected would be willing that this governor is not reinstated by the tribunal. And this is what we have seen in the jubilation around. And there may be a reprisal because, a few days ago there were threats of threat to life to the tribunal justices. So it is very instructive that this curfew is imposed. Otherwise, Kano is notorious. Kano is really notorious for violent activities of this nature. In fact, this is what earned Kano that name of one of the most endangered cities in sub-Saharan Africa. So it is necessary for a responsive government to impose that curfew. That judgment has come, then they have the right to go and appeal. Let them look at what the judgment has contained and what they have left undone and why the court has arrived the way it has arrived. And we move on from there. It is election. It is not war.
Let's also talk about some of the conclusions that were reached. I think one of them was sort of questioning the eligibility of the NNPP presidential candidate to have run for the elections. And I was hoping that you can maybe clarify that for us.
Yes, one of the most important things about challenging the eligibility of a particular candidate is that if there are internal crises that have yet been resolved at the time that individual became a flag bearer of that party, if there are issues, if there are challenges concerning the eligibility of these candidates, even if the opposing parties did not raise issue, they can make it an issue at the tribunal. And the court will listen to them. I'll give you an instance in the case of Amechi. That's a long time, and people refuse to pay serious attention to such issues. Omeha and Amechi went to the polls at the primary. and Amaechi came atop. But the party within itself decided to submit the name of Omeha. They went to polls. The party won. Don't forget, individuals don't win elections in Nigeria because there is no independent candidates. The party won. Amaechi simply approached the court, not the tribunal, approached the Federal High Court, asking very important question, whether the decision of the party to exclude him after having won the primary was right. And the court simply threw it away and said it is an pre-election matter and it should go to the tribunal. Amaechi refused. He went to Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal upheld the position of the trial court. Then he went to Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said, no, the party was wrong. This guy is asking for constitutional interpretation. What is the law of the party? What does it say? If the law of the party does not support the position of the party, then that decision cannot stand. And Amaechi was made a governor without his name on the polling papers. So this is one of the issues that can make the tribunal look into the problem of eligibility. It is a pre-election matter and should remain a pre-election matter. But where it matters is when there is internal disputes. And then the party must be able to defend that internal dispute as being resolved. If it has not been resolved, if there are evidence that it has not been resolved, I've not seen the judgment, so I cannot successfully go into the merit of that decision. But one fundamental thing the judgment carries that we saw in Osun is very important, and that is when the court says they have been able to, the opposition have been able to establish 165,663 votes that were invalid, and they were not stamped and signed. This is how to prove electoral fraud. This is how to prove overvoting. This is how to prove malpractices. Bring everything on board. Don't be lazy about it. If you're able to do that, successfully, the court will take its time to look at those documents, and once they are validated, the deal it will be subtracted from the man that has the highest mark. And if it turns out the way it is today, then I'm afraid whether they can really scale through the appeal.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, you know, and of course I saw that when the ruling was given, there were people questioning, you know, if the results that weren't signed, because that you know, seems to be what the court ruled, that the results weren't signed by INEC, and so they would not be accepted. 165,000, like you mentioned. How come, you know, it's only NNPP's results, you know, that were affected? How come the APC didn't have its own results that, you know, were also not, you know, duly signed by INEC, so, or stamped rather? So can you share your thoughts on that one? You know, do you think that the NNPP went to sleep after winning the election and should have also followed through with defending the election that, you know, put it in office? Or you know, did the court, you know, maybe also not look at other results that, you know, should have affected the APC candidate also?
Yeah, these are certainly matters of appeal if these allegations are established. But let me tell you, you just took it from my mouth that the party that won oftentimes go to sleep without doing more. But if you understand that certain areas may be very gray and you need to pay serious attention to them, EU alleges must prove that is a maxim in law, and a very strong one for that matter. The APC and Gawuna have established or are alleged that there were invalid votes recorded in favor of the so-called declared winner, and they were able to tender these votes. They went to INEC, got all these materials, and brought them before the court. And INEC position, don't forget, INEC is also a respondent in this matter. INEC's position did not contradict the claim of these individuals, the party, the APC, and its candidate. If INEC position has not contradicted that position, tell me, how would the court close its eyes to such position without doing the needful? This is just the position. But all of them were in court. All of them saw it and saw it laid out. They need to do more work than just to come to the media and make noise.
All right. So what are the next steps now? We know that the NNPP is going to appeal this, but pending the decision of the appellate court, is the governor meant to vacate his seat? He did give. He addressed the people of Kano State, telling them he would challenge the decision of the court, and the decision of the court was made in error, and urging them to go about a business peacefully. But what are the next steps?
The next steps is simple. The governor will not vacate yet. Why? He has a right of appeal. And in that appeal, notice of appeal will be issued and stay of execution of that judgment will be pleaded. It is going to be one of the conditions of appeal that the execution of that judgment be stayed. And if that prayer is accepted by the court, then he remains there until the appeal is heard at the Court of Appeal and until the appeal is also heard at the Supreme Court. If those stays of execution of the judgment are upheld by these appellate courts. So if it is not, then the court will ensure and the state will ensure that the judgment is effectively executed. And this is very important. We have seen anyway across that it is just within a limited time. I would say to the winner, the APC and its candidate, to be patient. To be patient. And the reason is very simple. It is just for some time. And as soon as the either Court of Appeal or Supreme Court, Supreme Court, in the past it will have been Court of Appeal. But our insensitivity pushed it to Supreme Court. Now we can see the result. Now, I will appeal to them to be patient. Oshun is just here. We saw it from trial court to Court of Appeal and to Supreme Court. And the governor is there. So if it has turned the other way around, then Oyetola will have been there by now. So let them be patient within time, because this appeal also has time frame that is allotted to them. So let them be patient. As soon his time will start running when he is sworn in as a governor. So it's not about somebody using my time. No, nobody is using your time yet. Yes, the court says it's illegally announced as the winner of that election. But your time starts running when you take the oath of office too. So be patient and
Mr. Badru,
tell your party to also be patient.
Absolutely. And of course, it's very interesting seeing how the tribunal, of course, rulings are playing out in different parts of the country. It's maybe Nigeria's most fascinating electoral process in years. But thanks for your time this morning, and we'd like to speak with you again, as things unfold in Kano State. Thanks for joining us.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you.